Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today is July 3rd, 2024. So a lot of people here in the US are probably taking the rest of the week off, or at least tomorrow off. But for those of you who aren't, I've got some cool stuff for you guys to look at over the weekend at learn.alphasoftware.com. Today is going to also be a fairly short session. I'm going to begin, though, with answering a customer question about conditional styling. And then we're going to go into some new content that has been released that I think you guys will find really interesting. Coming up next week, we have the folks from Start Software returning, showing off an application they built called EcoScribe. I've seen parts of this application before. It's very cool, and I think that you all will be impressed. Before I get started, though, I want to make sure that I am coming through. You should be able to see my screen and see my mouse move around. And if you could just indicate that by saying yes or something like that in the questions box, that would be great. Wonderful. Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off with that customer question today. We had someone write in saying that they were having an issue conditionally formatting a piece of text in a UX. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate what's going on with that right now. What they wanted to do is they wanted to create a text field, and that text field, or numeric field, it holds a value that will be a variance. So this will be how far off it is from spec. And if it's more than 0.1 off in either direction, they would like that field to turn red to catch the user's attention. So if it's 0, for example, then the text will remain black. But if it were, say, 1, that would be out of spec, so it should turn red. Likewise, -1 should also turn red. But anything in between, like -0.05 or something like that, is okay, so that should be in black. So they were wondering how to set this up, so I'm going to get ahead and just did a quick example of how to do that. So here we are in the UX builder. I think most of you are familiar with this. And we're going to go take a look at this field, and we're going to go, we've placed here, we're going to go take a look at conditional style class and text. You can find that here in the properties section just by typing in COND, and that'll narrow down your choices. And we're going to click on this, and we're going to see that we have 3 things that I have defined here. I'm going to go ahead and erase these so that we can do it again. All right, so the first thing that's going to happen, we're going to add a condition, and that condition is going to say if our value is greater than 0.1. And if that's the case, we want to conditionally apply a class. I've already set up a class before. I've set up 2, in fact. One is called red and one is called black. The red one just simply sets the text color to red, the black one to black. So I'm going to go ahead and click the select button here, and I'm going to choose my style, which I can now see down here. I could always edit this, by the way. If I didn't yet have my style set up, I could go ahead and create them here in this dialog box. Now here's the thing that you might be tempted to do. I've selected this, and now I'm just going to click OK. But aha, I've made an error. Look, this class name is still blank. Let me show you why. This particular dialog box lets you stack up multiple classes. So as a result, when you choose a class, you will need to click the plus button over here to add it to the selected CSS class names. When we click OK on that, now you'll see that that appears here. And that was an error that I saw in one of the errors that I see actually fairly commonly. So let me go ahead and click add a condition, and I'm going to say value. This time we're going to go less than -0.1. And again, we'll select the red class and choose it. Now, the way Alpha Anywhere works is when it sees multiple conditions, it chooses the first one, sets the style, and then it just stops there. So if it comes here and says, oh, it didn't meet that criteria, so I'm going to go to the next condition. And it goes, oh, I didn't meet that criteria. I'm going to go to the next condition. In this case, there are no other conditions, but so let me show you what's going to happen. When we go into working preview, you'll see if I typed in like 0, it remains black like it was supposed to. If I type in 24, it should turn red. Now, if I set it back to 0, what happened? Nothing. It did not turn black again. And that's because we need to tell it to turn back to black when it's changed. So we need to create one more condition here, a condition that's always true, one that's always going to be true. So we're going to say 1 equals 1 as an example. Here we're going to set the class name to black. Add it. Okay. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and say click. Oh, working preview. And so now when I set it to red, move over here, and I try to set it back to black, it should find that last condition, which is always true. And so it did. So that was the answer to that question. Looks like there is another question coming in here. Oh, interesting. This is a question, by the way, you can, I forgot to say this, but this is a Q&A session. So please, you can type questions into the questions box of the GoToWebinar control panel, or you can send them to guides, GUIDES @alphasoftware.com. So the question that came in is, what's the trick to making the HTTPD server restart work as expected using a runtime installation? It seems to want to restart the development app server even when it's a full app server installation. That is a great question. We will write that one down, and we'll let you know. I don't know the answer to that one right offhand. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you today is learn.alphasoftware.com. So let me move back over here on my Mac. Escape out of PowerPoint. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to go into Safari. And for those of you who haven't been here, I strongly suggest going to learn.alphasoftware.com. This is where we have a whole series of different classes, some paid, some free. This week, though, I've put six new items up, which are all free, and I wanted to take you on a little tour of them. So if you go to learn.alphasoftware.com and you click on, just scroll up to the front and you say view more courses, you'll see these are the ones that I've added. I've added some from our developer day back in 2023, which were kind of fun, but were previously not available. And over the last 2 weeks, I've created a new course called Self-Hosting with a Reverse Proxy. I'll get into that one in a minute, but let's first take a quick look at the Dev Day ones because they're pretty cool. Starting in, I'll just go from left to right. This presentation, which was done by Greg Bowling, our VP of Sales, is one in which he takes Alpha Transform and he starts using what are called render functions and TPL to create some really interesting and unusual interfaces inside the Transform application. It's short and it is actually pretty fun to watch what he ends up doing with it. So I kind of recommend watching that, as I do actually all of them. This one called the A Year in Review and a Look Ahead is Selwyn Ravens going over the various features that were developed. This is a great one to skim through because there's probably stuff in there that you had either forgotten about or never knew about in the first place. Alpha Meets AI with Dion McCormick, no relation. He goes and shows you how he's incorporated AI into a real-world application, allowing people to search through documents to find out whether or not things are covered under warranty. It's sort of a novel application of that, but actually kind of a cool thing to watch. This next one was done by Nikos Kazantzis, one of our solutions engineers here. It was data-driven transform forms. He shows you a way of making forms in transform that can be dynamically configured based on data, which allows you to create thousands of different types of forms based on database questions that are stored. It's something that I think you'll find very enjoyable if you work with transform. And then Alpha in Action, some real world examples. These were fun. 5 different applications were being, I think it was 4 or 5 applications were being shown off in a rather short period of time, I think just a few minutes each, but each of which had some cool little tricks in them that I think you'll gain benefit from. And the last thing I want to talk about, though, today is self-hosting with a reverse proxy. I have done 2 webinars at least on this topic, and basically the concept behind it is it shows you how to host your Alpha Anywhere applications on your own PC over really any internet connection. So if you, I mean, it doesn't have to be a special internet connection. You don't need to have a dedicated IP address. You don't need to have special access to the firewall or unblocked ports or all of that. A reverse proxy takes care of all of that. However, setting up a reverse proxy is sort of a pain in the neck. It's like around 100 steps or so, but I think I've really simplified it here in this new free course. The advantage to this is, well, that you can host your applications anywhere. And so if you go to learn.alphasoftware.com and find the self-hosting with reverse proxy, you'll see we talk about really everything, like why you would do that, what you need to get started. And then we walk you through using Amazon Web Services to create a really inexpensive, like a $5 a month account. That's really all you need. That lets you securely route traffic from the internet directly through a proxy and through a secure connection to your PC, where you can host your applications. We go through testing, and then we finally go through automating it using a brand new feature that was introduced just last month, actually just in June, in which you can use and automatically restart the classic, the standard Alpha Anywhere server and have it run as a service. So that's, I think, all real interesting stuff that you all should check out. So that's really all I have for today. Next week, we're going to have a really cool presentation, and I hope all of you have a wonderful holiday. I'm going to stick around here for just 1 minute to see if there are any other questions coming in. You can go ahead and type them into the questions box. And if not, oh, doesn't look like it. Wonderful. Cool. Hey, thanks everyone for joining me, and I hope you have a great long weekend. Take care. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.